Good morning, Lynn. Good morning, Michael. How are you? All right, here we are. Stevie, good morning. Okay, so I have some thoughts for today, and since nobody shares their issues with me anymore, that is definitely something that I miss. Yet I am okay with whatever is. So when I say I miss that, I miss the beginning of class when people would come and share their issues or things that they wanted, I don't know. That's what it usually was. Like, here's what's going on with me. I did this to my back this weekend, or I'm feeling this, or I'm feeling that, or whatever it was. And then I would say, oh, wow, well, let's focus on this, or let's focus on that. And there's such a vast array of things to take care of as we age. And because there is so much to take care of, we have this opportunity every time we show up to the mat to focus on something else that can be positive for our body, positive for healthy aging. So for today's practice, I would like to create I want to raise awareness around the fact that we don't have to do big movements in order to get really effective therapeutic benefits from the physical practice of yoga. And that's something that I notice when I teach is how we all try to do more with our body. So today we're going to do something where we're actually going to stretch our torso, which is going to stretch our spine and create space in our low back, really give some freedom for low back, because everything comes to the low back. The low back is managing the bottom and managing the top. And so whatever you do throughout your day, so much of that tension comes to this middle part of the body as the body is trying to maintain that structure and that stability. So taking our awareness with our torso, really creating as much space as we can. And so I'd like you to think of this. If you think about an orange and you think about a segment of an orange, if you take away that wrapper that's on the segment, you'll see the little pieces of pulp. So each little individual piece of pulp is wrapped with the wrapping, and it's all wrapped. So if you think about all those pieces of pulp together in that segment of orange, they're so tightly together that if you were to try to bend a segment of orange or move it, you don't get a lot of movement. Everything is so tightly impacted, all those pieces of pulp in that segment. It's the same thing with our body. There is so much fascial wrapping around everything. There's such a tight binding of everything. The spine bones with the discs in between. When you move your spine, it's millimeters of movement that actually is what's happening. You're not doing big, crazy movements. When we start to come into our limbs, our legs and our shoulders, these joints are balls and sockets, we can move them in a lot of different places away from center. But when you're focusing on your center doesn't need to move a lot to create more space or more flexibility. And we don't want it to. We need that real structure. So today, the practice, we're going to do some movements to stretch our body. Have your awareness in your body when you're doing this. And I'll describe what part of our body we're going to go to. And I'll also describe how to stay in the right zone so we're not trying to go a little bit more than we should. So you'll see what I mean when we do this. We're going to be doing some stretching of our hip and low back area. So you'll see what I mean when I talk about creating more space in the body and how it is so tightly wrapped and bound. If you think about it, in this space of your body from where your legs attach, there's 22 feet of intestines. There's a big liver and a pancreas and a diaphragm and a stomach and kidneys and muscles and ribs in this lower part, floating ribs at the back, and then the ribs up here. All of that resides in this part of you. 22 feet of intestines. Can you imagine? That's like being on a 2-story building and holding your intestines and they're still dragging on the floor. That's the way I visualize how much that is. So all of that is impacted inside this area of our body. So when we're moving, it doesn't take a lot to actually compress and stretch and have an effect on all of that. So there's a lot of digestive aspects when we start to move this part of our body, like for digestive support. There's also immune function support that can happen, because 50% of our immune, either our nodes or the vessels, are in the abdominal area. And this is where the liver is figuring out, is this a good thing or not good thing, putting it back into your system? Does it need to go into the system so it can be peed, pooped, sweat, or breathed out of your body, right? The pathways of elimination from the body. So all of that stuff, we're going to support all of that with movement. This is not just a physical practice. This is a self-care practice. So no matter how big it looks, no matter how deep it looks like we're going, there is so much being done in terms of self-care and health when you practice yoga. For today's practice, we're going to need 2 blankets. So you'll need your block and your strap, and I'd like you to get 2 blankets. And it does need to be at least 1 blanket, and it could be a pillow. But if you have 2 blankets, you could do 2 blankets. So I'll instruct with 1 blanket and 1 pillow, or 1 blanket and another blanket. So just in case you see what you have. So make sure you get your props to do this practice today. I'll give you a little time to go get that stuff. Okay, so we are going to begin in a posture that I love to begin in. And this can be really nice for supporting the spine and bringing in a gentle back bend, which is something that we all actually need, all of us, because everything we do is forward. We need to start opening up and stretching the front of the body more often. So you're going to take your first blanket, or 1 blanket if you have one, and bring your blanket to the biggest fold. So not the narrow side, but the longest side. And no matter how well I describe this, it always seems that I need to walk around usually and instruct this a little better. Longest side, not the shortest side. So you want your longest side. And then you're going to fold this into thirds. So fold your blanket into thirds. And I know we all may have different blankets. And then if you do have a fringe edge and a solid edge, bring the solid edge down to the middle of your mat. Now, you're either going to take your second blanket, or it may be a pillow that you could put up at the top for your head. So this is actually, I am going to put this part underneath my chest. So depending if you have a pretty big pillow, it would be better with a blanket, or it would be better with another towel, because you want it to be pretty narrow so that we're really getting the thoracic spine, the vertebra here, at least 4, 5, 6, 7, thoracic 4, 5, 6, 7, because this is really the least flexible part of the spine. We want to try to get some stretch deep inside, behind your heart, behind your lungs. So much takes place here. This is where your lymphatic system dumps into the cardiovascular system, so that all the lymph and all the stuff that's happening can be delivered wherever it needs to be delivered. So the lymphatic system does not have a heart to pump everything, but the substance in the lymphatic system goes into the circulatory system right here on the left side. So we want this to be nice and unobstructed and stretched. Let's clear the cobwebs in this part of our body. Also where we breathe, where gas exchange takes place, where the blood manages the acidity, the pH. So much deep physiological, biochemical healing can take place when we practice. And so this position we're going to put our bodies in is going to stretch this area. So a blanket or a towel would be preferred, so that you could take your blanket, your second blanket, on the long side, not on the narrow side, on the long side, and fold this up into thirds. This is going to go across here like a letter T. That's going to be where my chest is going to be, and then the head goes on the blanket behind. You decide if you need a little more when you come down with your head. We're putting a back bend into our spine. We're putting this shape in, and we're really trying to open and stretch this part of our spine. So that's what our goal is. So you're going to use whatever props you can to get that. So let's come down onto the blanket so that you have the blanket behind your heart. And you want it to be so that actually your tushy is on the ground. So it may need to be a little lower than usual. And keep your knees bent. Now, for some of you, you may need to take the blanket at the top and bend it, fold it so that it actually supports your head. Or for others, maybe having your head down is appropriate for you. Knees are bent, feet are flat, arms are out to the side. Coming into a position that you feel a supported stretch. Walk your feet back towards your body and have your knees bent, feet are a little wider than your body. You want your pelvis to be able to go into or go with that tension so that you don't feel it in your low back. Want most of the stretch to be experienced in the front of the spine and in the chest muscles and in the shoulder muscles. So get yourself into a position where that is where you feel your tension. And then close your eyes so you could feel your way into this. Feet closer to the body, just give a little bit more freedom for the low back. Then if you'd like to start walking the feet away, making sure that the low back is okay. We're all different. And because so much goes to the low back, you want to be careful here as you start to bring the stretch to the upper spine and the chest area, that your low back is okay, especially for those of you that have low back issues. So conveying safety to your body and letting your low back know that this is okay, that you intentionally put yourself in this position. May sound silly, yet on a deep level, you have this innate safety valve everywhere, safety valves all over. And you want your body to know that this is okay. Close your mouth, breathe in and out through your nose. Let your awareness go to where you feel the tension and direct the breath to where you feel your tension. So each inhale, take your breath to one place that you feel tension. Stay there. Let's add these words. On the inhale, bring in the word relaxation to the area you feel tension. And on your exhale, let the word tension go out. Inhaling the word relaxation, exhaling the word tension. If you have a couple of places where you feel tension, let the breath go there. Visualize that the breath is going there with the word relaxation on the inhale. And an exhale, release of tension. And notice if, as you bring the word relaxation, do you feel a little softening? a little less pulling, a little relaxation. And on the exhale, softening into that, releasing tension. If your mind wanders, bring it back. This is time for you. This is time for you to go inside, for you to pay attention, to focus, to notice where subconscious protection exists in your body. Notice where the tension has developed from whatever lifestyle habits you've had since the last time you paid attention to your body. Letting your mind go to where you feel tension, bringing the word relaxation on the inhale, letting go of the word tension on the exhale. Letting your awareness come to your spine. Bring your awareness to your tailbone, then your sacrum, the low back, the middle back, and your neck. Let your awareness go up and down your spine. Do you feel tension in your spine? If you do, is it in the front of the spine or the back of the spine? Or the sides? Where do you feel the stretch or the tension in your body? Is it where the arms attach to your body, in the shoulders and the chest muscles? Do you feel it in the neck, the muscles, one side or both sides? Get very familiar with the way your body is being held. We have two sides that could be equalized, yet we are asymmetrical. And we do things mostly one-sided, one eyeball. So there's a tendency to have tension on one side versus the other. Get to know your body. Let your breath go up and down your spine, noticing what it notices. Then bring your awareness down to your belly, to the place between the lower ribs and where the legs attach to your body. Let's start to use breath to gently stretch this part of your body, where your digestive organs are, your intestines, your gut. It's where most of the hormones are secreted, down the center midline of the body. Keep the mouth closed. Breathe in, let the diaphragm push down a lot, so you feel the stretch in this part of your body. Keep your mouth closed. Do a little massaging. So breathe in sips. Like sip, 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 sip. Feel how there's a bouncing aspect of the diaphragm. Let the bouncing aspect press into the belly, into the stomach, the pancreas, the liver. be kind of forceful with it so that you feel movement. You feel this movement of your belly. Sipping in the breath through your nose. You maybe even will make some noise. And then release, let your breath go back to a normal pace. The inhale is a voluntary muscular movement. The exhale is involuntary recoiling back to neutral. Let's get involved with the exhale. Let's press the exhale out in sips or in bursts. So as you inhale through the nose, exhale strongly. Push your diaphragm up towards your lungs as if you're trying to push the breath out, push the breath out. Thinking about a bellow, or when you would get a fire, try to stoke a fire with that apparatus that you push the handles and it blows air, blows air, blows air to try to help with the fire. Use that action. Keep your mouth closed. Your exhale, you're pushing, 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 letting your diaphragm push, push, push. Very active, very involved. And do one more. Keep your mouth closed, deep breaths into your belly. Bring your awareness to your fingers and your toes. Move your fingers and your toes. Let your head go side to side. Go slow. Feel the stretch in your neck. Maybe you'll feel your joints release some air. Maybe you feel the bones moving. A little chiropractic self-adjustment here. And then bring yourself onto your side. Let your spine relax. Take your hand on the ground. And you're going to push away. Don't pull up with your head. So we're saving our back right off the bat here by using our upper body to push away from the ground. And then bringing yourself up. Bringing your awareness to your body, noticing what you feel when you move out of that. This is a pretty big stretch for the chest muscles, for the shoulder muscles. It also starts to open up the spine, stretching the front of your spine. So in of itself, physically, it does a lot. And if you think about this place right here where your heart is, from the floor, there's a certain amount of inches that you are really stretching this part of your body. So noticing when you come up, what are the effects of that? And especially if you do have issues in your shoulders, because this is going to stretch the muscles of the shoulders. And so for me, right now, I'm feeling more on one side than the other. And that's because I had to brace myself when I slipped on my trip to England, and I had to hold on tightly to the rail. And so I did something to my rotator cuff, I'm sure. And this was probably almost a month ago. It was actually almost a month ago. And so I still feel it, and it's definitely repairing and healing. So all that stretching there, I feel that stretch that came into my body. So being aware of your body and what's going on in your body. And when you do stretching, I also feel the nerves, actually. I can feel that I stretched my pathway of my nerves because of the position I had my arms in. So I can tell that I cleared the cobwebs for myself in my arms. And so really becoming very aware of what you're doing to your body. So the breath work that we did is at the end when we did the pushing out of the breath. That is actually called Kapalabhati. It's a yogic breath. It's controlling the exhale and pushing the breath out, taking the diaphragm and push. And so let's do a little bit of that in this position here. getting to a position that is comfortable for you to sit in, taking a block and putting a block underneath your tushy is a nice thing to do, or between your tushy and your heels may be good, or get a blanket and sit on it. And let's take the blanket and put it underneath our knees so that we're a little protected in our knees for this. So take your blanket, fold your blanket, put your blanket on the mat, and bring your block underneath your legs, underneath your tushy, whatever, or sit in a crisscross leg position. Let's do a little bit of the Kapalabhati breath. This can be a nice way actually to increase energy. So when I practice yoga in India, quite often after we come back from a break, the way we begin our sessions after a break is to get our internal environment energized. And Kapalabhati actually means skull shining. So it is a way to actually rev up your internal environment. And you want to pay attention because we are exhaling a lot. And so it can make some people feel lightheaded. So pay attention. Right here is where your diaphragm is. It is lined underneath your entire lower rib cage. Usually it goes back to its neutral position on its own. We're going to get involved and take over. So this is actually one of the pranayama methods. The 3 areas we can control our breath are diaphragm, throat, and nostrils. This is controlling our breath at our diaphragm. So Kapalabhati, let's do a couple of rounds. Let's maybe do 5 exhales if that's appropriate for you, or if not, you could try 3. So the way this will look is you sit in a nice erect spine, elbows underneath the shoulders to set yourself up for postural alignment, and then bringing your awareness to your diaphragm here. This is what the exhale looks like. You inhale through the nose. The exhales are it's blowing out your nose and pushing up, 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 up. Okay, we'll close our eyes. We're going to do 5 rounds. However long it takes for you to get your exhale out is how long you do this. We're all going to be different. You do you, I'll do me, and we will do our Kapalabhati together. Get ready, prepare. Nice tall spine, nice erect neck. Back of your neck is lengthened, chin parallel towards the ground. Let's begin by taking a big exhale, create a lot of space. Inhale. When you finish, let your breath go back to neutral, breathing in and out through your nose. Breathe all the way down to your belly. Bring your awareness to your mind. Notice what's happening up there. Do you feel the skull shining? Did you feel any movement? Any clearing, any cobweb clearing in your mind? How does your heart feel? Do you feel your blood coursing through your veins and arteries and heart and body? And then open your eyes. So you got to be careful when you do the Kapalabhati, do it at your pace. It can make some people lightheaded. So pay attention to what's appropriate for you. We would do this for 1 minute when we would come back from our session to come into a new session to learn. And it is really great for energizing you internally. So those afternoon slumps that happen, or if you need to show up for something and you want to have energy to do it, maybe a little Kapalabhati, a little skull shining will be a great way to kind of turn on the on switches, to give a little pep to your step internally, biochemically, physiologically, before you take on something. Okay, so Kapalabhati, add that to your healthy aging toolbox whenever you need that. So let's move on in the practice. We are going to do something today. So let's practice this here, and then we'll do this on the ground. So we want to stretch our tissue, so tightly protected and wrapped, a multi-layer of wrapping that's going on in our body here. So let's take the hands down by the side, exhale, and then inhale, bring your arms up, let your head go up, and then exhale, chin to chest. Beginning to bring movement into the body, inhale up, and exhale. See if you could feel the stretch that comes into your belly as the lower ribs and the whole rib cage moves away from the pelvis as you lift up as high as you can, and then bring your hands down. So you create the space in your body. Inhale up, feel that stretch. Exhale, chin to chest. Do what's appropriate for you. And then bring yourself back to center. So if your legs are closer together, it's a little bit more challenging for the balance communication in your body. Closer the legs are, a little more challenging. If you're feeling unstable and you want to be a little bit more secure, you could come into the wider stance with your legs. And I would like to suggest that you challenge yourself appropriately. So don't always go to what's comfortable. Go to an edge where you can actually use stress appropriately so you can actually gain strength from that. This is weight buried in the hip joint. It's going to strengthen the pelvis. It's going to strengthen your hips. So being here is creating some bone building stimulation in your hips. It's also balance and joint coordination from the knees up to the hips, up to the spine, balancing your head where it is. So this here has some benefits as well, being in this position. And we are moving our arms to stretch our postural muscles and to start moving our spine, to start connecting to our breath. Take an exhale, and as you inhale, move your arms, slide the shoulder blades towards each other and down to the spine at the same time. Exhale to hug yourself. Inhale, open your arms to whatever range of motion feels appropriate for you. Exhale to hug yourself. Keep your chin up, your throat open. Inhale and exhale. And now imagine that you're actually inhaling a beautiful aroma. So inhale into your lungs, mouth closed, in the nose, and exhale. Go slow and go into a place of stretch. When you come forward, try to crisscross your arms opposite. See if you can wrap your hands around as far as possible, stretching in between the shoulder blades, and then activating those muscles between the shoulder blades to draw the shoulder blades closer to each other. Great for posture, for spinal alignment. Great thing to find in your day to take a break and then bring yourself through a few more of these. Arms start to go a little farther back, getting a little deeper stretch, and then one more. And then bring yourself down. Often throughout my day, if I've been sitting and working at my desk, I'll go outside, go to the sun, look at the sun, and do some of this movement here. Either taking my hands up or reaching up, creating more space between my rib cage and my pelvis, or bringing my arms out to the side, really thinking about my shoulder blades and stretching the postural muscles, the front of the body, the spine. This can be great movements to do to bring into your life to stay mobile and healthy and to clear the cobwebs physically in your body. Let's stretch the side of the spine. So reach one hand up, one hand down, moving side to side like this. What's important here is that your arm stays by your ear and it doesn't come forward. So this is not about getting over more. This is about bending your spine safely to the side. Feel the side of your body lengthen. This is good for low back. This is good for the waist, for the core. Feel in between the rib cage and the pelvis stretching. Inhale when your arm comes up. Exhale when it goes down. And then one more each side. And then bring yourself back to center. Allow yourself to come back to a neutral position here. So we're going to come into rotation. In rotation, we want to stay safe with the rotation. So let's begin first here with the head. Looking to the side and slightly up. Go to a place where you actually feel a stretch in your neck muscles and your upper back muscles. Now we're going to move our torso with this. So come back to center, take your legs a little wider. So now your pelvis actually has the ability to swivel. And because the body has all these safety valves in it, when you start to move into a range of motion where that joint can no longer go any farther, there's other joints in play that will actually become safety valves that will move in order to make sure that you don't do a damage in this joint. So it's important to keep this fluidity and this range of motion in your body so that you protect your joints, you protect the tendons of the muscles that are attached to the joints. So bring your legs pretty wide here. Start to go side to side, but let your hip come forward and then back. So it's really more of a figure 8 that you're doing. Your hip goes forward and then back, forward and then back. And then let's go side to side, side to side. And then come back to center. So bringing in some fluidity here. Now we're going to go a little deeper in our rotation. Now the rib cage will join the head, and you're going to start to feel the stretch on the core muscles and on the back muscles. And you may even feel this in hip joint muscles. And the pelvis may go as much as it will. So you want to make sure that whatever you're doing is appropriate. One great way to do that is to bring the shoulder blades with you and let the shoulder blades help to bring the rotation into the upper trunk and to protect you. So bringing our shoulders along for the ride. How will we do that? Well, you have elbow, shoulder, shoulder blade. So where this elbow goes, if your elbow goes up, it's going to place the shoulder blade on the back and be a safety valve. So we want this to be our elbows. So let your elbow go up and back. You'll notice you'll get more range of motion and see if it feels appropriate for your body. Now, if you have shoulder joint issues, you may not be able to lift your arm this high. Maybe you're here, but let it be the elbow that goes back and then let your head follow. If you'd like to go a little bigger, you feel that your arm come up, let the shoulder be back too though. So let the elbow be behind the hand. And then you could actually go a little higher with your arms, getting in now some back bending, and you're going to definitely feel that lower in the pelvis, lower in the front of the hip joint. Make sure that feels appropriate for your low back. If you do too much, your low back may not be happy. So notice that. And then come back to center. Let's take a break and sit down either crisscross or on the block, either between your tushy and your heels or in between your heels. So I think for those of you with low back issues, it would be really great for you to become a detective and to notice what movement patterns are aggravating. And the back is protecting you. For those of you with low back issues, you know what that means? That means you have a back that is super protective. And so now learning, what do I do above the back and below the back? How can I strengthen, lengthen, increase my range of motion in my joints above and below so that my back doesn't need to come and help me all the time like this? How can I disperse the tension in my body in an appropriate manner? So for me, being body aware is what helps me stay healthy and safe and pain-free. And it's the practice of yoga and all the movements that we do with awareness that gives me that ability to stay safe in my body. So let's now come up. We're going to go onto the ground and we're going to use gravity to help with posture. I want to show you the movements we're going to do so that you'll do them effectively on the ground. Take your hands behind your head and clasp your hands. So you're clasping your hands behind your head and your thumbs are going to go down your neck. Hands are behind your head, elbows are out to the side. So we're going to be on the ground. We're going to be on the blanket so the body will slide and glide. We're going to lengthen our low back and lengthen our waist. So if you let your elbow that's moving up, move up towards the sky, let that be the focus. And then come back to center. Notice how much space you have to do this. There's not a lot of movement. maybe that elbow is sliding up 1 or 2 inches, right? There's not a lot of movement. This is not bending your body like this. This is really thinking about the elbow. Think about that elbow going straight up towards the sky, reaching it up towards the sky. And notice what you're feeling in your body. So we're going to do this on the ground to create length in our body. We're going to glide on the blanket. So let's do that. And the way we're going to do that is you're going to take your blanket and open up your blanket onto your mat. So you're going to open up your blanket onto your mat. And then you're going to need another blanket for the top or a pillow for your head. So you have one on the ground and then one for your head. There's something about this for me that has a really yummy feel to it. When I put the blanket on the floor like this and I come down onto the blanket, I don't know what it is. It feels really nice. So hopefully that's the same experience for you. Make sure that your block and your strap are to the side. So you're going to come down onto the ground, onto your blanket, come all the way onto your blanket, let the blanket by the head, and then your body is on your blanket. We're on our blanket because we want our body to slide. So we want it to have as much capability for sliding as possible. Then you're going to take your hands, bring your hands behind your head. And so you don't want your blanket that's behind your head to be too big. Maybe you could even take the blanket away. So see, for those of you that have pretty good posture and not a lot of tightness in your spine, maybe having no blanket is better. And then you're going to bring your right leg over your left leg so that the back of the right leg touches the top of the left leg. There's no space between the legs. So the right leg is on top. We're going to be stretching the right side. You could walk the left foot over to the left a little if you'd like, or leave it in the neutral. Bring your awareness to your right waist, to the top of the right pelvis and the bottom of the right rib cage. Exhale. As you inhale, push the right thigh away from you as you let the left towards the left. You're not trying to get to the floor. You're trying to get the right waist and your right hip. Exhale back to center. So close your eyes. Feel where you feel enough stretch. It's not that many inches that your body will move over. Keep your pelvis stable. Don't rock your pelvis. You're pushing your right leg away. You're inhaling, letting the legs move to the left, feeling that stretch on the right side. Exhale back to center. Contract your core to exhale back to center. On your next one, you're going to let your legs go to the left to where you feel the most stretch. From here, walk your left foot over to the left a little bit more, to the left and away from you. Feel the left buttock on the ground. Push the top right leg away from you. Stretch that right waist. Elbows are pressing into the ground. Heart is pressing up towards the sky. Push your belly button towards the spine and try to push the top edge of the pelvis towards the ground. So you have a posterior tilt in your pelvis, protecting your low back here, the low back curve. The stretch here should be in the right hip, right glute, right waist. Take one more breath. And then you're going to bring your foot back, bring yourself back to neutral. So come to a neutral position. Now we're going to stretch the top part of the right side. So that was the bottom part. Now we're going to slide the arm on the floor, on the blanket. Let the elbow move up towards the wall behind you and try to draw the right ribs away from the top of the right pelvis, and then bring yourself back to center. You inhale to lengthen.
Slide the elbows on the ground. They don't leave the ground. Let the right elbow slide up towards the wall behind you and exhale back. Feel that stretch on the right side. One more like this. Now we're going to, on the inhale, let the legs move to the left, slide the arm up towards the wall behind you, stretching the right side, and then exhale back to center. Maybe you feel it in your glutes, the waist, the hips. Push the pelvis towards the ground, the top edge of the pelvis if your low back is not happy, so that you can bring this into the side and the front of the body. Legs go to the left, elbow up towards the wall, elbows stay on the ground, don't let it lift off. One more. Legs to the left, elbow slides up towards the wall behind you. Push your belly button to your spine, try to flatten or press the top edge of the pelvis towards the ground to protect the low back. Feel the stretch wherever you feel the stretch. Push the left elbow into the ground, the right elbow into the ground. One more breath. And then bring yourself back to center. Let's take the legs apart. Bring the hands onto the belly. Let your legs go straight here. Close your eyes. Bring your awareness into your body. Notice what you're feeling. Bring your awareness to your right hip joint, your right glute, the right side body, the right waist. Noticing what you feel there. Right low back. Now bring yourself awareness to the left. Left glute, left hip, left low back. Noticing if you feel anything, any difference. So let's go to the other side. You're going to bend your knees. Take your hand behind your head, clasping your hands. Elbows out to the side, thumbs down your neck. Bringing the left leg over the right, letting the legs touch. There's no space between the left and the right leg. You could walk your right foot over to the side a little or keep it where it is. The intention here now is to stretch the left side, the left waist, the left low back, the left abdominal area. Exhale. As you inhale, pushing the left leg away from you, creating space in the left side, let your legs go towards the right. Exhale back to center. Small move. Don't let your pelvis tilt. Don't let the left side fly off the floor. You're lengthening and then moving the left leg to the left, stretching the hip joint, the waist, the low back. It's a small movement. On your next one, you're going to stay there. If you'd like, you could walk the right foot over towards the right a little bit more. That'll give more pull on that left leg if that feels appropriate for your left hip, left back, left waist. Pushing the top edge of the pelvis towards the ground if you need to protect the low back. Breathe down to your left side. Close your eyes. Keep your elbows on the ground. Heart pressing up towards the sky. Take one more breath. And then bring yourself back to center. Walk your foot back to neutral. Let everything soften. We're going to move the left elbow up towards the sky, stretching the upper trunk away from the lower, so the rib cage away from the pelvis. So your hands are under your head, your elbows are to the side, your feet are in a neutral. Left leg is over the right leg, no space between the legs. Exhale. As you inhale, slide the left elbow straight up towards the wall behind you. Keep the elbows on the ground the whole time. Exhale back to center. Inhale to lengthen. And exhale back. Press your elbows towards the ground as you slide up and lengthen. One more. Stay here. Press elbows into the ground, heart up towards the sky, elbow towards the wall behind you. And then bring yourself back to center. Exhale. So we're going to do both. We're going to let the legs go to the right. We're going to let the left arm go up towards the wall behind you. If you need to take a break and undo your legs or anything before, that's fine. Closing your eyes, be very body aware here. Push your sacrum into the ground. That's the base of your spine. Exhale. Inhale, let the legs go to the right, elbow up towards the wall behind you. Exhale back to center. Really stretch the left side here, letting the left leg push it away, push the top of the pelvis away, and slide left elbow up towards the wall behind you. Next one you come into, stay there. And then walking the right foot over to the right, creating a little more tension. Push the left leg away, the left pelvis away to create space. Push the top of the pelvis towards the ground. Left elbow up towards the wall behind you, heart up towards the sky. Take one more breath. Slowly bring yourself out back to a neutral, and then unbind, unwrap, bring your arms onto your belly. Bring your legs into either a bent knee position or take your legs straight and wide. Close your eyes. And then let's come into a fully stretched position. Arms are overhead, toes are pointing away from you. Stretch your body glove. Push your belly button towards your spine. Try to flatten the low back towards the ground. Push the low ribs towards the spine, protecting the low back. And then bend your arms. Let's come into some core work here for the low back. Take your block, bring your block in between your hands. Take your knees pretty wide. So if you could feel your mat under the blanket, take your knees as wide as your blanket. Inhale. As you exhale, contract your core. So feel the pelvic floor activate. Rock your pelvis back so that your top pelvis goes towards the floor. Lift your upper body up and then bring your hands between your legs. Slower you go, the more advanced this is. Inhale to lower. Exhale, you're going to bring yourself up to center, and then you're going to rotate the trunk to bring the block to the outside of the right leg. Don't hold on to the block. Push your hands in so you're activating the shoulder girdle. Exhale to rise. Keep your gaze and your nose up towards the sky. Inhale to lower. Exhale up and over to the left. Keep moving, going through the center and to the sides. Go with your breath. If you want this to be a little bit more advanced, move your arms, keep your head up, bring your arms back to your ears, and then lower your head. Bring your head up with your arms and your ears glued together. Let your hands move away. Let your arms come back, and then lower your head. That's a little bit harder on the upper back and neck. One more, each direction, center to the right, center, to the left. Bring yourself all the way down, take the block to the side, bring the blanket underneath your head if it wasn't there already. Knees come into the chest. Let the low back roll side to side. So you may feel your upper back and neck there. That's a lot of upper back and neck work, which is postural. And it's also the stronger you are in the upper back and neck muscles, the less the low back will have to work to support the head on top of your body. Bring your feet onto the ground. Let's take that tension in the neck area. Let's stretch the neck. So bring your hands behind your head. Bring your elbows towards each other. Keep your rib cage on the ground. Tuck your chin towards your chest. Let your hands lift your head up, stretching the upper back and neck. So let it be the hands that are holding the head. The head didn't lift itself up. And go as much as you can or would like to stretch the upper back. And then bring yourself down. Squeeze your arms around your head so your whole arms are holding on to the weight of the head. Try that one more time. And then bring yourself down. So when I do that stretch, I feel it all the way down below my heart, that I'm actually stretching those erector muscle groups, the spinal muscles in my spine and the upper back and neck muscles. Letting your head go side to side to take tension out of your head. So let's stretch the legs, because the legs, if they're tight, that's going to affect the tension that's received by the low back area. So take your strap, bring the right leg up, keep the left leg bent, and you could keep the right leg bent if you'd like. We'll be in the belly of the muscle. And then take that leg back towards the wall behind you to the place where you feel a pretty nice stretch behind your leg. Let the leg go back towards the wall behind you. So straight right back towards the wall. The toes are pointing back towards the wall. And then bring yourself out. Take the strap into the hand. So if you have the right leg in the air, take the strap in the right hand. Take the foot about a foot away. Toes are pointing towards the wall behind you. Knees could be bent. And then let the leg go towards the wall behind you, a different area of those back thigh muscles. Then bring yourself back to center. Now you're at center. You're going to turn your toes to the opposite direction. If you have the right leg, then to the left. And then leg could be bent. Let your leg go straight back towards the diagonal. So it's going over the diagonal towards the shoulder, stretching the back of the hamstring. And pay attention here. How does your hip joint feel here? This is actually one of the ways they diagnose hip arthritis, is by moving the leg forward, usually with a bent knee. And that's going to put forces testing your hip joint. So see how you feel here. Do you mostly feel this in the back of the body? That's what we're trying to do, stretch the muscles. But if you do have a lot of hip arthritis, that might show up for you here as well. So pay attention. Let's switch legs. So let's take the other leg in the air, strap on the foot. First, you're going to stretch straight back, the very center of the hamstring. Try to feel here the stretch in the center of the body where the leg attaches to the glute. See if you could feel that. And then release. Take the strap in the hand of the leg that's in the air, go about a foot to the side, toes are pointing back, and then direct the leg back to the place that's appropriate for you. You want to feel a pretty strong stretch. So you're actually having the potential to increase the range of motion in that muscle. And hamstrings, tight hamstrings can wreak havoc on your low back. And those with low back issues quite often will say, oh yeah, my legs are tight. Well, okay, that's a big part of your back issues. So this is your opportunity to stretch that. Breathe into the tension. Bring in relaxation. Exhale tension. Inhale relaxation. Exhale tension. Bring yourself back to center. Come to center. Switch the grasp of the strap. Toes point in. And then the leg goes diagonally towards that shoulder. Feel that stretch in the back of your thigh somewhere. Back of the hip, right where that leg attaches to the body. And then bring yourself out. Bring the other leg into the air. Take your legs wide as you can with your strap. Bend the knees and draw the legs back. Now try to let the low back not touch the ground. So push the pelvis into the ground. Push the sacrum and the tailbone into the ground. And then the legs back. So create a little tension right where the legs are attaching to your body. Take one more breath. And then go ahead and release. Let's take the strap. And I want you to loop the strap or you're going to tie it. So looping the strap, not too big, maybe about this distance here. And you're going to bring the strap onto your legs. We're going to do a bridge posture. And when we do it with the strap, we're going to add a little strength to the back of the body and the side of the body. This is going to be protective of the low back. So bring your strap onto your legs. Take your blanket away from the back of your head. Lengthen the neck. Slide the shoulder blades towards each other. And then keep your feet a little bit away from your body at first. Keep your hands down alongside your body. Tilt your pelvis back so your low back presses into the ground. Push into your strap so you feel the activation of your muscles. Long neck, chin to chest, eyes are closed. Exhale. Inhale, push your feet into the floor. Feel your spine lifting up and away. Your legs are away from your body, so you're maybe only going to lift to about the heart. Exhale, place the spine down on the ground, one vertebra at a time. Go all the way to your tailbone, and then tilt your pelvis so your low back comes first. Push your feet into the floor. Feel the glutes activate. Start to lift the spine away from the ground. Exhale to lower. Close your eyes. Feel this undulation of your spine and the activation of your hips. One more. Feel your glutes, feel your hips. And then bring yourself back to center. You're going to walk your feet closer to your body. Push out on your strap. Slide side to side so you get more narrow underneath your shoulders. And then palms facing each other, fingertips up towards the sky, long neck. Feet are closer to your body. You're going to get a little higher here. Exhale. Let the low back press into the ground. As you inhale, peel your spine up and away. Push your arms into the ground and lift your rib cage even higher away from the ground, activating the upper back muscles. And then exhale, slowly place the spine down on the ground, one vertebra at a time. Inhale, low back starts pressing into the ground. Push the arms into the ground, push the feet into the ground, push away from the ground as you peel your spine off the floor. Exhale to lower. Close your eyes. Feel this. Feel this in your joints. Strengthening your spine, strengthening your hips. On your next one, come up and stay up for 3 breaths. And then bring yourself down. Blanket back behind your head. Take your strap off your legs. Bring your hands up. Wiggle your fingers. Your eyes could be open looking at your hands. Bending all the joints, the top joints. There's 3 joints in each finger. And there's 2 in the thumbs. And then grab, open and close. Take your wrists, wiggle your wrists. And then shake your arms. Let them sink into your shoulders. Let your legs go straight or in the air. So whatever feels appropriate for you. Moving your ankles. Point your feet and flex. Bend your knees. And then shake your limbs. And let's bring everything into a settled place, into Shavasana. So let your body come into a fully outstretched position. Feel the blanket underneath you. Legs are wide. Let everything settle here.
Gently begin to deepen your breath. Start to wiggle your fingers and your toes. Rolling your ankles, your wrists. Bending your knees, drawing your knees into your chest. Rocking. Coming all the way onto your side. And from there all the way up. Closing your eyes, sitting nice and tall in your spine. Hands are together. Hands come to your heart, lengthen spine. We're going to close with a humming sound. Take a big exhale. Inhale. In gratitude, namaste. So my body feels great. I hope yours does too. The more range of motion and flexibility you can keep in your joints, the happier, the healthier they will be. It will minimize the wear and tear of arthritis. It will keep more space, more communication, and really keep you out of the place of pain, which is really important for us to be happy, right? So I hope you feel good. Do what's appropriate for you. Always check in with each practice that we do to make sure that this was appropriate for you. And these are all recorded so you can watch them in the future. All right. So checking in. I think I see that Lynn is here. Couldn't see you from back there, but I'm pretty sure that's you. Hi, Lynn. Hi, Carolyn. All right. So how are you feeling? Good. Thank you, Michael. All right. So we have another class next week, and then we are off for the rest of 2022. So, you're welcome. Thanks, Stevie. Gratitude for you as well. So we're off. We have another week, and I'll see you next week. So don't go too crazy with the holidays. All right. Bye, everyone.